What is going on, guys? This is All Gaming with my review of Kill La Kill episode 23. And this episode, it was so freaking good to me that I had to watch it twice. That's how good I found the episode to be. So it starts off with Mako here. Of course, she shows up in her uniform, and we see now that the other Elite Four, they're of course wondering why she wearing a uniform, and they of course question Lori or Irie, something like that. But they question him, why is Mako wearing a uniform? And he says that she actually has the top combat ability outside and inside a uniform, and so it was a logical decision, to put her into one. And that right there, really surprised me because Mako, even though we did see her in a uniform early in the series, the fact that he said that she is a top combatant in power when it comes to this, that right there is shocking. And we see now that she immediately goes to work, and she had all these cannons attached to her arm, and we see now that when she attacked that large monstrosity, she was able to extract a large amount of people from there. So clearly, Mako can definitely wear a uniform, and I do wish that rather than her being a 2-star, I wish that she could have been upgraded to a 3-star, because that right there would have been so freaking epic. But now we go to Satsuki and Ryuko here, and of course they're going on to fight their mother. And I gotta say, the animation for that part, throughout the entire episode, it was definitely beautiful. Now, there was one part that the animation, was really beautiful to me, and I will get into that later on. But we see now that we actually learned that, of course, the scissor blades and of course Satsuki sword, they can cut life fibers, but when they're cut, they can immediately regenerate. And so when they're cut from both sides, then the new life fibers that try to regenerate, they can never connect again. And so now, because Satsuki here has 2 swords, she can now have the same effect on life fibers like Ryuko can have, and that right there is incredible. And so we see when they actually go to attack Ragyo, she actually brings out her own blades, which are like these hardened life fibers, and she was saying that Satsuki's sword and Ryoko's scissor blade, they were based on this kind of technology. So that right there is very important to note. And so now we see that at Ragyo here, she's immediately able to fight with them with no problem at all. And we see that when she forces Satsuki back, she actually lands on the life fiber, and that right there causes Ragyo to get extremely pissed off. And we see that not only does she kick her off, but she was saying that she'll never let somebody, touch the sacred place with their feet. Not even herself, as we saw her standing on a napkin, doing her entire time on here. And now we see, to make sure that they won't touch it, she actually flies off. And we see now that we get this air battle between the 3 of them, and that right there was definitely cool. I gotta say, the action in this episode, we definitely got a lot of that, but at the same time, we also got a ton of story progression. So it was just pretty cool at how much pacing this episode had, because it was definitely amazing. And so now we see while they're fighting, we see now that Ryuko here, she actually tries to break off so she can attack the original life fiber, because of course with Ragyo not on there, it should be an easy target. But to her surprise, the life fiber here, I'm guessing that it can launch some missiles. I definitely know that it has some kind of weaponry, and we see now that it was attacking Ryuko. And so of course now it's not gonna be that easy for them to take out. But soon enough, the life fiber here, it actually changed courses, and it actually plans on attacking the naked soul, as it was going to, I believe, absorb the people on there, or just kill them, because either one it can really do. And so we see now that it had launched all of these pods on there, and it was just all these uniforms. Oh, but before that, we got this comedy scene with Mako, as the original life fiber had bombarded the ship with all these missiles, and Mako here, it seemed like she got hurt, and Tsumagu had called for the medic, which was her family, and they had tied her up in all these bandages, and of course she couldn't fight. But it was just hilarious, how at one point we saw her on the boat, and she was eating and also taking down the cover members, as we saw her eat a little bit, and just one hit, and she kicked the person or hit them out of the cover uniform, and it was just so freaking hilarious. And so now we see that when all these pods come up, and we see now that that Mako here should be resting because she was definitely tired. And then she had like this other hilarious scene with like Tsumagu, because she was saying that right now in her head she hears she hears Ryuko, and she was saying that she should come to the light, and Tsumagu was saying that she's like pretty messed up. But now she knows she has to protect this boat, and so she like charges onward to all of these different members of covers, and right before she can fight them, we just see these clauses fall down, and it's the Elite Four, and we see now that their new ultimate uniforms they are gold and black, and I gotta say they look so freaking cool. And now when they transform into their final ultimate form, I definitely like them. I gotta say, these Ultimate ones, they definitely surpass the old ones, especially Sanagiyama's. I think his I like the most. If not his, I gotta say that Hoka, I'm definitely liking his as well. I will say that here is definitely the best one for him. But overall, their Ultimate uniforms, they were just that freaking cool. And so at one point, they like basically one shot all these covers, and they even said that I believe like one strike utter victories, something like that. And we just see the like huge explosion, and all the people are going everywhere. And so clearly now that they have the power to really fight, and we see that it's definitely paying off. And like we have saw them take it on many different cover members, and we saw their new powers. And Hoka's here. He was like rather interesting, but at the same time, even though I watched it twice, I really don't get it because it seemed like he had them all in the net, and it was like something was like forcing out the people. So at the same time, I'm like kind of confused, but I still found it to be very cool. And so now we see Ragyo here. She's actually back on the original life fiber, and we see now that Ryuko she actually had an idea, which she tells Satsuki about. And we see now that when Ryuko actually rushed in there for like the finishing move, we see now that they were here for like a part of her plan, and she actually let Ragyo here actually impale her, and it seems like she cut her in half. And now when she's falling, we have Satsuki here who gets rather upset, or pretends to get upset, and actually charges in, and we all know that she can't really not really, but she cannot beat her mother on her own. And so now she would like pretend to be a decoy, while Ryuko here, who wounds already healed, and she was now attacking the original life fiber. So of course this right here was like part of their plan. And so we see now Mako here, who really thought that Ryuko had gotten killed. She got upset, but we saw now that somebody, and I'm gonna put it out there, I'm gonna say that it was Ira who did this, put her hat back on her head, and we see the Elite Four now. They are now going to where Ragyo is, and so Ragyo, who is now pissed off because we see that Ryuko was attacking the original life fiber, she was actually going to kill Satsuki. But then out of nowhere, we see Ira. He actually appears and he blocks her sword, or blocks her blade. And he was saying that now his arms, they are just as strong as Satsuki weapons, and so now he can like really be her living shield. And then we see Ira. Then we see Sanagiyama and what's the girl? Oh, and Nonon. We have these two attacking as well together, and so we see now that's the Sanagiyama. He actually had his eye open again, and that right there I'm actually glad about. I'm glad that he's no longer, having his eyes sewn shut. I am glad that they're open. And then we have Hoka here, who actually threw Satsuki, like 2 blades at her. And so I thought at first, she had him, but apparently, she lost him or something. Like somehow she lost him, or maybe she had like some different blades till Hoka here was able to give her hers. But now we see that it's the Elite Four and the Satsuki. They are now going to fight Ragyo, while Ryuko here is taking down the original life fiber. And so while they were all working together, it was definitely cool to see that. But we see now that the original life fiber here, it's actually still planning on attacking this ship. And so Aikiro, he actually get this idea where he actually wants to use the naked soul, trump card, and it's actually using the ship real form, where it's actually a dagger, a naked dagger, as he said. And so now that he's planning that, we see now that the original life fiber actually attacks him, or he attacks the ship, and it actually does do some damage. And we see now that the first and the third, like the turbine, they actually went down, because we see that they're being powered by the members of Nudist Beach. And so now we have Mako here, who actually gets him one, because she knows that Ryuko is waiting for her, and so of course she wants to catch up to her. And so now she actually gets on the turbine and she starts running on it, while we have Ryuko here, who's actually inside the original life fiber, and she's now trying to cut down the core of it. And so while she's doing that, she's having a hard time, because it is tough. And now we see that the naked soul, we see now, because of Mako, it got this insane power boost, and it's now charging so freaking fast. And right there, when the ship got the power boost, I don't know why, but to me, the animation, it was just so freaking beautiful. It was like gorgeous when they showed that part. That right there is probably when the animation, like, to me, look at its best. I don't know why, but it just did. And we see now that there was an opening in the original life fiber, and that's where the naked soul was able to impale it. And so now Ryuko, who can sense Mako on the ship, because I don't think that she could hear her, but we also saw the other like club captains, they were also in the turbine as well, and Ryuko was like getting so fired up that her and the naked soul, they were able to destroy the core, and now they came out of the life fiber. And so of course Ragyo here, she was like shocked by this, because of course she was saying that it should be impossible for like mere humans to be able to destroy this, but they actually did. And right when it came out, they actually crashed into the academy. And so now you think it's all over and we're going to get this like happy ending, but we see new Harumi as well. And I also forgot early on in the episode, she was like still working on the ultimate Kamui, as she was calling it. And so now we see that she actually did manage to complete it, as we see it now. And not only that, we have Ragyo here, who actually restores her arm. But apparently she was saying that these arms, they aren't good enough for sewing like how she used to do. But she said that these new armor will at least allow her to fight these humans. And so apparently Nue said that was alright, because soon the world will like be covered in life fibers, so there's no reason to sew anymore. And so now we see now we have Ryuko, Satsuki, everybody else, they're all preparing themselves for the final battle. And we have Satsuki Butler here actually bring them some tea. And so Satsuki was saying that don't break these cups, because they're gonna come back and they're gonna have another cup after this is all over. And her butler was saying he'll have plenty of water waiting for them. And now we have Mako and her family, they were like eating once again. And Ryuko was saying that Mako doesn't have to come along, but she was saying that she has come this far, so she wants to see it through. And not only that, we see that at one point Mako's mother here had made her a ton of food, and Mako just ate it almost in an instant. And we see her her stomach like inflated right now, kind of pulling Luffy here, which like made me laugh so freaking much. But we see that while her family and her was talking, her stomach had went down to normal. And so right when they were going to go into to confront Ragyo and Nue, we see now that the episode had ended. But right when the credits were going on, we see that Nue here had cut them off. And we see now that Ragyo, she had put on the ultimate Kamui, and we see that it wasn't complete. If we now see that Ragyo assistant here, I forgot her name, I believe her name was like Ray or something, we see now that she actually absorbed into the uniform, and that right there is what completed. And that right there is truly where the episode ends. So I do wonder, what is Ragyo gonna look like once this is all over? Because now I'm definitely curious. But this episode right here, which is so freaking good, even though next week it is ending, I am so looking forward to it, because I do want to see Ragyo. I do want to see Ryuko and Satsuki take down their mother, because it's gonna be epic. But I do wonder, is New Wave gonna fight? I do feel like that the Elite Four will like take her on, and I do hope that they will have their like ultimate, uniforms that can bring her down. But mainly, I want to see Sanagayama versus New Wave, because I feel like he has to redeem himself, when it comes to fighting her. But overall, this episode, it was just so freaking good. It was amazing to me. I give it like an A+ rating, because I freaking loved it. I loved it so much that I watched it twice. So as always, please do not forget to like the video and subscribe. I would love to hear what you guys thought about the episode. Please let me know. But as always, you guys take it easy. I will see you all next time.